be honest, most of us spend years chasing success that looks good on paper, only to wake up that we have been building someone else's dream, like a default dream. But what if you could rewrite the whole story? Not by adding more hustle, but by reconnecting to your vision. Today, we're going to talk about how unconditional love can literally reshape a body, and how biohacking yourself isn't just about longevity, it's about reclaiming authorship of your own well-being. I love this interview. If you've ever felt stuck or overwhelmed, or like your body's running the show instead of your vision running the show, this episode will change how you think about health, about creation, and about what's truly possible.
Hey there, it's Jocelyn Herman-Saccio, the host of Be Unmessable with the podcast. Welcome. And today, if you're into biohacking, you want to know more about how to biohack yourself, you are in the right place, because my guest is not only an award-winning producer, actress, but she is the editor-in-chief of Biohack Yourself magazine. So let's welcome TereZa Hakobyan Lolly to the show. TereZa, it's so nice to see you.
Yes, very nice to reconnect with you.
It's been a long time. It's true. I didn't talk about that in the intro, but I figured I'd leave it to you to sort of talk about your journey, because I'm so happy for you and, you know, the beautiful family and business that you've created and the difference that you're making in the world just makes me smile from ear to ear. But why don't you share a little bit about the journey that got you here, doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I met you about 13 years ago in New York, and I was just in the thick of my entertainment career. At that time, I was already in the United States for about 4 years. I came from Armenia, and I was pursuing the American dream. I wanted to be a recording artist. So I was actually in the middle of recording my songs. And I felt like if I took your master class, that could have given me inspiration to write, better lyrics or more lyrics. And I was also acting in film and TV. And your course completely changed the course of my life. It changed the trajectory, changed the way I understood life, and I understood myself and the way to be unmessable with. It was very grounding. And so what happened was I took your course and I had those silent moments with you where nothing mattered. And then, you really think about what are you gunning for? What are you rushing for? What are you working so hard for? Let's bring purpose to that. Let's bring meaning to that. Even though the whole course was about there's no meaning to it.
Yes, exactly. Right? It's kind of paradoxical,
like at the end
right?
of your course, it's very paradoxical. But for me, the understanding of that there is no meaning, it gave me more meaning to actually make better moves in my life. And
it gives you the opportunity to create a meaning, to create a purpose, to create a vision so that you can live from your creation rather than just what you're dealing with being thrown at you.
Exactly. So going from wanting to be a singer and an actor, which basically you would be creating, but somebody else's narrative under somebody else's control, to really bringing on a vision and being able to create what I've created today. And even after your course, I met my husband, and the fact that I was even able to be open, right? Not so career driven where, all doors are closed, where I'm not getting married until I get to this and this and this place. It was completely different. I was married soon after. We had 2 beautiful children, and together we've created such an impactful movement, which I'd like to talk to you about.
Yes, that's what we want to hear about for sure.
Yeah. So when I met my husband, right, I basically stopped everything as far as like acting and music. It felt, like you said, it felt meaningless to go that way. And then it felt more meaningful to create a relationship, something that was forever, a loving family, children, and all of that. So I devoted myself to that full time. My husband at the time was 315 pounds, and he had always struggled with weight loss and obesity, even since he was a little kid. And again, like being unmessable with, I kept thinking there's got to be a way, and I must be able to create the vision that he wants for himself and me. I can also create that for him. Why not? If
Yeah.
I love him so much, if I have such unconditional love for him, I can create this outcome for himself. And another thing that you were big on, and I think we had a conversation during your course, was vision boards and how powerful that is to really just see the end result of what you want to create. So, I created vision boards of his transformation, and just things started falling into place where he came across this coach, and the coach moves into our house, and the whole thing is happening. He's transforming, and literally within 9 months, he loses 125 pounds, something he's
Unbelievable.
never been able to do after 10 times of coming into this weight loss journey and leaving failed and, miserably unhappy. He was just given up. He was like, I'm going to be this way. This makes me happy. I don't want to go through the misery of weight loss. But it wasn't until it clicked in his head that it was going to be transformation. So, anyone ever approaches me on Instagram and says, how did you support your husband in this journey? I said, we made it a transformation, not a weight loss. It was no longer
Not
about
a
losing.
fix.
Exactly. It wasn't like 20 pounds here, 30 pounds there. It was an entire transformation. So successfully happened, and we filmed a documentary on his journey, which became a viral sensation, 95 million views, and on Amazon, streaming on Roku and Tubi and all these platforms. And our production company really started getting the buzz, and we created many more documentaries on health and fitness. The second one was a docuseries, actually, where I got involved after having 2 children. I was the other side of things, right? I had weak muscles and back pain, the postpartum, I guess the regular stuff, right? I hear that from a lot of my friends, the ones that were not in fitness, at least, right?
Right.
And so my husband was like, look, if I could transfer, if I could transform and you could manifest my transformation, I can manifest yours. You're going to become strong, and
It's
you're
like
going to
quid pro quo, Clarice,
totally. And, like, this is what I mean, like learning this unlimited mentality from your course and understanding that you can really visualize your wildest dreams and be able to bring that to life was very powerful. And it still is. And I still go by that. So what happened was he trained me. The former obese guy is training me, who I was always the athlete, right? I was always like the one that was fit and took care of the diet and did at least yoga. I'd never bodybuilded, but he said, what you're going to do is bodybuilding. And you're going to be so strong. You're going to deadlift 200 pounds. You're going to be able to squat me on your shoulders. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. It's not going to happen. Sure enough, in about 8 months of training me, I would put him on my shoulders at 210 pounds and I would squat 6 times.
Oh my
So
God, that's unbelievable.
I got to that level of strength. And then we said, you know what, let's create a fun docu-series called The Super Lollies that's streaming on Amazon and all the other platforms, and really give our audience the view of what it's like to be a fitness competitor and go around and achieve goals, your best body goals, right? Like, you want to look like a Victoria's Secret hot model, you can. And this is how it's done. And there's many people doing it at whatever age that they want to do. Like, I mean, we met 40-year-old women, 50-year-old women, moms of 5, getting on stage and competing as Miss Bikini.
Wow.
Or fitness, right? So now you're seeing, okay, this world exists. People are doing it. They're on meal plan. They understand macros. They understand building muscle, building strength. Then that just kind of changes our algorithm, right? You start following people like that, and that's what's being fed to you. Now it's becoming the norm for you. And this is how we've been able to maintain our bodies years after the documentaries. And obviously,
Amazing.
after all these health and fitness documentaries, we ultimately came into the world of biohacking. Are you
Yes, talk
familiar with
more about,
biohacking?
I am, and I have a lot of clients who are in that field. However, I'm by no means a master and expert, and I love hearing from people who are, because so many people are interested in it, but they don't know where to start. You know what I mean? It's like, where do I start? How do I do it? Is it expensive? Do I have to hire, really pricey coaches to, or people that can send me through these processes like ice baths and whatever it is.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit. What I love about your movement, it's about biohacking yourself,
Yes.
which really is so empowering and so in line with, everything I'm about, which is giving people the tools to
Yeah.
fulfill their vision. So talk to us about what you guys are creating, because it's very exciting.
Yeah. And you said something really important. When I started my journey with my son, Legend, now 6 years ago, when he was born, he had, slight acid reflux and eczema, slight issues that just didn't sit well with me. I wasn't about to use medication or creams and stuff like that. So I started biohacking him without knowing that that was biohacking, without having a guide. And I tell you, it was so overwhelming. It cost me so much time, so much money, so much agony too, because you don't really know if it's going to work at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. You're just like, okay, I'll try this or I'll try that. And there's no real like science behind it, like a
Yeah.
methodology. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we're discovering that there's actually a lot of science behind it.
Yes.
And it's coming out, right? So that journey of healing Legend, I always call that's my why, and that's how we kind of created this movement. Took me about 2 years, and I was able to resolve everything that he was dealing with. At the end of the day, he had mold infection from our HVAC system, and he had the 2 copies of the MTHFR gene mutation that was not diagnosed, but instead what was diagnosed was that he may be on the spectrum, he may have Lyme disease, he has a restless leg syndrome. I can go on and on with
That's
the
their
title and the
go-to.
labels.
That's what they do.
Totally.
They go to the top 10, and then
you
give
know
you
what's
medicine to
disheartening?
deal with that.
Yes, the medicine is what's almost, it's criminal. And I'll tell you why, because one of the diagnoses that came from a very reputable hospital was that he has restless leg syndrome. So he needs an iron supplement, liquid iron, which would have been liquid poison for my son because he can methylate iron. Just the irony of that, right? It's just like, how much as a mother, as a parent, as an individual, as a daughter, right? Because you have also your parents that are maybe relying on your advice and expertise because
Absolutely.
they're not tech savvy or whatever. So the responsibility is heavy, and the fact that you're just not allowed to listen to only one opinion. I take 20 opinions if there's
It's
something going on.
It's really interesting because I remember when I was pregnant with my second child. So this is
Yeah.
like 23 years ago. And I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, so I was adopted. So I didn't know any family history of diabetes or whatever. And they gave me in the hospital, because I was in the hospital a few times before I ended up giving birth, uh, a diabetic diet. And the diabetic diet was all like breads and things that send your sugar. And thank God I had a nutritionist at the time, Oz Garcia, who I think is a genius in the biohacking space and on longevity. And he, at that time, 25 years ago practically, was like, do not eat what they're telling you to eat. Do what I'm telling you to do. And I was able to manage the diabetes with diet, no medicine, but I had to not do what they told me. It was amazing. And it's counterintuitive because you go to a doctor for their advice and it's a guessing game for doctors too. My friends who are doctors are like, we're just guessing, know?
Yeah. It's heavy on them too. I've noticed, a lot of the doctors actually have a lot of guilt, shame, and not feeling good about their job. But that's what they've spent 10 years of their lives learning. So it's just the system that's
Yeah,
going
it is the system. I think
changed.
that's exactly it. It's got to get changed. Yeah.
Well, so what we did when we came across the world of biohacking through a mutual friend of like when we were deciding to move to Florida, we met a guy named Stephen Klein, and I was like, oh yeah, you're basically a biohacker and you should be biohacking. I was like, what is that? So looked into it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the world that I've been in, right? It's everything. It's functional medicine. It's alternative medicine. It's herbalists. It's naturopaths. It's all of them under one umbrella. In fact, Dave Asprey, who came up with the concept biohacking, he always tells me, he's like, I didn't trademark that because I wanted this to become a global movement. And I think that's really nice. And, he was able to label a combination of industries under one umbrella. So when I discovered that, chills went down my spine, and I said, Anthony, we have this incredible platform. We've have all the eyes and ears of the audience that's so heavily invested into health and fitness, especially based on our last documentary. The one before Biohack Yourself was called The Guru. And The Guru, I cast some of the biggest bodybuilding champions, like 10-time Arnold Classic champion Dexter Jackson, the owner of IFBB, Jim Manion, and all of them came on board to talk about George Farah, who was the star of the documentary. We were doing his bio basically to activate him as a coach who just beat cancer, who beat, all kinds of issues. So when we had the eyeballs of this entire community, we said, we are going to do a documentary. We're going to bring this entire fitness community into longevity, into biohacking. Because honestly, bodybuilding for a long amount of time may not be the healthiest solution for you. Yes, you can get to your perfect body, and yes, you can maintain your muscle, and yes, you can understand what it takes to build and maintain muscle. Great. But to keep competing and keep on that regiment, it's definitely not healthy. So now that we had our perfect bodies on the outside, we're like, let's get the perfect bodies on the inside. And there's so much to understand. We're not willing to go on this journey without documenting it. So we start filming, and something that started as a 1-part documentary called Biohack Yourself. Easy. It's a call to action. Go biohack yourself, because you're in charge of your health, of your destiny, your children's health, your husband, your wife, your parents. And
you
actually
are the author.
Yes. And even, the movement, you can start with your friends and aunts and uncles, everyone around you. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're cold plunging, or, oh, what are you taking? So it's a movement you could start right from your within yourself. So we start filming. It explodes into a 5-part documentary called Biohack Yourself, and it's streaming on Amazon Prime. We get to cast some of the most incredible experts in the industry. And the humility of everyone coming on board and saying, we see what you guys are doing. You're bringing biohacking to the masses, to the people who don't know where to start from, who are so confused, so misled. And there's, TikTok moms, Instagram influencers, there's paid influencers, there's everything. And then Google, and then ChatGPT. It's so confusing. It's so overwhelming. My husband calls it infobesity, and we laugh about it because obesity was, so it's like, it's this infobesity. Like, how do you go through it? And so when we put together the documentary, we said, okay, we cannot do documentary like, Heal, for example. Here's one of my favorite documentaries, but it focuses a lot on the problem and not so much on the solution. There is hope at the end of the tunnel, but it almost seems like you have to get in touch to these celebrity practitioners to be able to fix yourself. With us, we said, we're going to bring products, companies, founders that are open for business. And they can take your call and they can practice telemedicine all across the United States and help you get better, help you get to that first step. So we did all the vetting. We onboarded people that were vetting with us, saying yay or nay to this product, this service, this doctor, this expert. And we were able to put together a cast of 114 people.
Amazing.
And then we actually filmed Shield with 77 experts. So if you really think about it, it's expertise of 191 of these scientists, credible people. I mean, RFK is in our documentary, Dave Asprey, Dr. Amen, a celebrity brain doctor with many clinics around the country. So we bring solutions. When you watch our documentary, you're going to know what to do. You're going to take steps. You're going to take action steps. You're going to take this supplement. You're going to understand what is ATP, because we ask, okay, but what is ATP? Talk to us like we're a 5-year-old.
Speak English.
Speak English. It's so funny. In fact, we wanted to simplify it so much. We brought our kids on with us, and we said, okay, the toughest experts you're going to interview yourselves. Our daughter's name is Love. Our son is Legend. So they would sit there and be like, but what is mitochondria?
Oh, that's awesome. Because that's about the level of my education with mitochondria. So I think that would be definitely a good thing for me to watch.
Absolutely. It's really A to Z understanding where to start, how to start, to even understand what you need to look for. How do you
Yeah.
need to self-test yourself? And then we bring products that are completely affordable, like a portable infrared sauna for $900 that can sit in your bedroom or your bathroom, right? And you can detox yourself from all of the toxins that is bombarding you on daily basis. And I said it in the documentary too. I said, look, the environment has been hacking us. There's no secret about it. The water, the air, all of it. But let's stop crying about it.
Chemicals, everything, the
Yeah, but
preservatives, everything.
now, RFK is in power. He's going to make a massive change. That's the promise. We're supporting because he's coming in with outside thinking. In fact, we produced his Maha Bowl on the inauguration day in Washington, D.C. We were commissioned to produce his bowl and be the private media for him, and really like encapsulate the energy, the support, and everything that he promises to bring on board, because a change is a must. However, before a change is going to happen, you got to biohack yourself. You got to find out what to do, how to sustain your livelihood in today's life. And that's exactly what we're doing with the documentaries. And then continuation of the documentaries is our biohackyourself.com website, which is just continuing on bringing new vetted experts. We have contributors that are contributing to us as if we're the journal, right? Because
Yes.
the journals are now getting the reputation that maybe they were corrupt. Maybe it was very hard to publish your work. So now we're giving this outlet to these incredible scientists who are doing incredible work and yet not really getting their word out to the masses. Well, we're here to do that. And now our magazine, which is the only one of its kind peer-reviewed magazine that's on international shelves, going out April 21st. You got to go get your copy. Here, I'll show you.
It'll be out by the time this airs. It's already going to be out, but look at that.
Yeah.
I know I want to be a contributing author because I want to so make a difference with people hacking their brain. Like, how do you reroute your brain from being reactionary to being in creation mode? And that's the work I do with people. So that's why I love what you're doing, because it's like echoing everything I'm committed to.
I would love to publish your work for real.
Well, let's do it. Game on.
Do it.
That's what I say. Game on.
Game on.
Look at that.
Look at this contributors. I mean,
beautiful.
The top of the top people talking about things that are not really, you can't really find them on Instagram, like the seed oil dilemma. Right here, you can find out they're bad or they're good or they're okay, right? Biohacking eczema. Ben Greenfield says, biohack your testosterone in 7 ways. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like biohacking Bible. So
that's what I was going to say. It's like the Bible. There you go.
Yeah, one place to go. We're credible, we're vetted, and that's what we do. We have a big team of peer review faculty group. So if you're selling a snake oil company, a snake oil product, you cannot advertise with us, because we will find the ingredients, we will ask around, and we'll know the efficacy of the product. And we also don't feature founders that have bad reputations, even if their products work, because who's behind the company really matters to us.
Yeah. So it sounds like, a lot of your values have to do with, not only integrity, but also, giving people affordable access to things that, because I think, I know I have a dear friend who, has lots and lots of money. So money's not an object, but is dealing with cancer and does a lot of these things, but it's so cost prohibitive. Now for her, it isn't. And she can have all the machines and the things and the blah, blah, blah. But, I'm not going to have 90 machines in my house. And most of the people I know aren't going to do that either. They don't even have a house big enough. In New York City, your apartment is about big enough for, you and your children, right?
Chamber. Yeah,
exactly. And that's one of the things she's got. But at the same time, they're so beneficial. So how do we make it accessible for people without breaking the bank? Because most of it's not covered by the at least now,
Yeah, we bring incredible solutions in our magazine, on our social media. We bring a lot of affordable solutions. I mean, even peptides are now becoming very affordable. For example, BioLongevity Labs, I'm actually taking their brain peptide and it lights me up, for example, and they're advertising with us, BioLongevity Labs. This is these are research peptides, BioMind. But the thing is, like, I think $200 for a whole month supply, and it's rewiring your brain. Like if there is any sluggishness or there's any non-connectivity happening, it helps a lot. For example, this tool, right? Aries Tech. It's not that expensive. You put it in front of your computer, it actually protects you from Wi-Fi radiation. So my whole thing is like, take action today, right?
Yes.
It's a different story if you're already in a position where you actually have to spend a lot of money. Yes, cancer could be very expensive.
Yes.
But if you find the right consultant, you can definitely minimize trying out too many things and spending unnecessarily, right? So for example, hydrogen baths and oxygen baths,
Yeah.
because cancer doesn't like those things. For example, if you get started with those are very affordable. You find a hyperbaric chamber and it's like $200 for a session. I mean, things are definitely getting more and more affordable, and we're breaking those news on our Instagram channel, which is the Biohack Yourself Media, where we get 6 million viewers on monthly basis because people come to us to learn. What do
Yes,
they
and
find out?
people want the tools, they just don't know where to start. So what's something like people just listening right now without having to maybe even spend $1? What is
Yeah.
something they could do right out of this podcast and actually biohack themselves?
Yeah, I love it. And the simplest hacks are like the morning sunlight. When you're
Ah,
there to see the morning sunlight, the
circadian
grounding,
rhythm. There you go, right?
circadian rhythm, yeah, and the grounding has been exceptional for us. We don't even wear shoes anymore, um, and I know in New York it may be
I know
tough.
you live in Florida. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know. If I was not wearing shoes in New York, it might be a pretty
it may.
horrible
But you know
situation.
what you could do? Let's say you could find a park, right? The best grounding you get is around a tree. So if you actually go stand by the tree's base and like just touch a tree, you know what grounding is, right? Grounding, basically it helps your cells to kind of separate from each other. And it's actually bringing this lively energy and flow back into your life. You can replace that with a PEMF mat because in New York you have long months of unpleasant weather. So the PEMF mat does the same thing as grounding outside.
Mm.
And I've seen PMF mats that are near $700. You know, it's really about prioritizing. What is your priority? Is living a long and healthy life, your health span, is that important to you? Or are you okay to be a burden on your family and yourself? What
And
is
also
important
just,
for you?
what does it feel like to age? That's one of the things I love about Oz, who I haven't introduced you to, but I think I will. Oz Garcia. He's a
Okay.
longevity expert, and he was the nutritionist way back when who was like, do not eat what they tell you to eat because you'll end
Mm,
up with full blown diabetes, right?
wow.
But one of the things about aging is aging. I have parents in their 90s, and it takes something. It's not for wusses aging, but how
Yeah.
do you age well? And that's really a question that I think more and more people are asking. And when I work with people, as you know, as a coach, one of the biggest things that messes with them is their own well being, because
Mm,
busy, productive people, one of the first things to go out of existence is their well being. They just, they are not a priority to them. Everything else, everybody else, the business, the kids, everything is kind of more important than their
yeah.
physical body. But they don't get the connection that if they don't have a physical body to interact with life with, they can't do anything that they're doing anyway. So it's a little bit paradoxical and oxymoronic, but you've got to take care of that physicalness. So when I first start working with people, I find out what's going on with their sleep, what's going
Mm,
on, like if there's anything physical happening, my coaching's not going to make the biggest difference it could make, because you're operating on an empty tank of gas, so to speak. So you need to
that's so
fill the
true.
tank to
Yeah.
be able to have high performance, you
Yeah.
know? And I think mostly people are just tired, and they explain it away like, well, I'm just busy. I've got a lot
Yeah.
to do. That's why I'm tired. And they don't realize there are steps they can take to feel great and still get a lot done.
Yeah. Take one step at a time. When we started filming Biohack Yourself, I was even more overwhelmed, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, it's happening. We're interviewing 8 people a day. as we're filming, we're moving from state to state, sitting down with some of the highly intelligent experts. And here I am with my mom brain. But
Yeah.
mom brain is actually a good thing. I was just watching an Instagram video. It's the third time that your brain actually grows, where you start paying attention to, like, the reason why you have a mom brain is not because you're becoming forgetful or your memory is shutting down. It's because your highest priority in your brain is to keep the children alive and producing. So everything else becomes secondary. But what I was saying is, it was very overwhelming. I didn't know where to start. Everyone coming in, they're talking about their product is it. This is going to, definitely do it for you. But you know what? If you're dedicated to understanding it, you're going to know that it may take a year for
Yeah.
you to really understand. I mean, you go to college for 4 years and you think that that's totally okay to go to college for 4 years. You plan your whole life around the college, right? To get that degree, to get that certification where you can go on and have a job. Now, your main job is to stay healthy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how about
But
get
that's
that
not
job?
how, but not people don't relate to that like that's their job. It's
Yeah,
amazing how quickly, once people start putting the integrity into their well-being,
yeah,
how quickly they become even higher performers with more ease and
yes,
freedom because they don't have to deal with the burnout and overwhelm. Burnout and overwhelm are mostly a function of being disconnected from your vision. You
yeah.
can get a lot done, but if it's in the context of getting things done, you're going to be burnt out. If it's in the context of fulfilling your vision, that's a different game. That's a game changer,
I love it.
you know.
And I love how
Yeah.
you actually incorporate these techniques into your coaching. It's so crucial.
Well, it's kind of like if you can't take care of a house if you don't deal with the garage, right? So it's
Yeah,
like a human being is not just their physicalness, but it includes their physicalness. So you have to deal with what's happening physically. And
yeah,
and I, especially with women that I coach over a certain age, the first thing I'll ask them to do is get a hormone panel because so many
yeah,
times hormones are messing with them and they just think they're not motivated or something. No,
yeah,
it's not about that. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a pretty motivated person. Like, you don't have to like get me up for something. But
I
when
know.
I dealt with yes, exactly. But when I dealt with menopause, I didn't care about anything. I was
Mm,
like, I don't even care what we eat for dinner. I don't care if we eat. I don't care what I wear. I don't care and it was just there, and I just didn't even have an explanation for it. And the minute I dealt with that
yeah,
issue, the hormones, when I found out what it was, within a week, I was like a
life
totally different
changing.
person. Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is. And those are the kind of little changes, just like the daylight, start your day in daylight, start with the grounding, things that you can do in your immediate environment. And
yeah,
again, doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Start with some sort of probiotic or some sort of peptide or something that can begin to make those little changes. You shift 1 degree and you end up a million miles
a
away
whole
from where
different
you
place.
were when the other degree was there. So
Yeah.
it's real leverage what you're
Like
talking
I
about. That's
say,
what I like.
totally, yeah. And with red light, let's say, right, or sunlight,
Yes,
there's very many affordable red lights you can incorporate into your life. If you're in a building, you can't get out, and you have to just take in that red light. You can do that. With like sauna space, for example, my sauna space, I love it. When I have to work, let's say from a 6 a.m. in the morning, there's no sunlight. I turn that on. There's replacements, and this is why biohacking is so good, because we have crazy lifestyle right now. We don't consider the nature, right? We don't care about when the daylight starts, when the nighttime starts.
exactly.
So when we incorporate these techniques and tools, you can actually feel as if you're in the mountains, right? Get the same benefits of the red light and the grounding, and the water is the other most important thing to get a filtration going. Is so crucial, because I don't have to tell you, like,
Yes,
hydration is life. And I tell the kids all the time, your cells, each of your cell, look at your cells as if they're your kids, right? If you just think of this tiny little cells as your tiny little newborn
little
baby,
babies, little
little
babies.
babies that keep you alive, that's what I think of when I'm nurturing myself, right?
That's a
Because those
great way to think
selfless
of it. I
moms,
love that.
right? You're a selfless mom. You have to do, give, give, give. Okay, then think that you're giving it to your cells. You
I
trick
love it. It's
yourself
your
to take care of
cells
yourself.
and yourselves, it's like, I like
Exactly.
the alliteration completely. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if people go to biohackyourself.com, they can get a lot of these tools and they can get the resources and links to things. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I'd recommend anyone to watch Biohack Yourself on Amazon Prime.
Amazon
There's
Prime, we'll put the link in for that too.
totally. So part 1 is out, part 3 is out, 2, 4, and 5 are coming throughout the year. Check out Shield when it comes out. It's going to be probably at the end of this year, beginning of next year. I say follow Biohack Yourself Media on Instagram because we really post most up-to-date information there so they can
I'm
know when the
following,
movie's
so
out.
I get all that info from you. I'm like right in your little
Nice.
channel.
I mean, we're probably going to have an incredible red carpet premiere for Shield so people can come and meet their heroes. People like Gary Brecka, people like Sage, and people like, all of our cast from Shield, like JJ Virgin, who are changing lives behind closed doors that actually need to be celebrated. And this is another thing we're doing in the longevity space is we're bringing Hollywood to the biohacking world. We're making it glamorous. We're saying these are the people that need to be celebrated on the red carpets.
Yeah.
Because you start following them because you celebrate them, your algorithm changes, you start really living it. Next thing you know, you're
I
a
love it.
biohacker. Yeah.
And not only that, celebrity is really based in the word celebrate. So who are your celebrities is who you're celebrating. So I love that you're
Yeah.
creating a whole avenue to celebrate things that are making a positive difference in our biology
Yeah.
rather than just our fashion and our this and our that, which is all external, which is not who we are. That stuff is all, bells and whistles. Ultimately, if you're not well, I don't
Yeah.
care how many pairs of shoes you have, it makes no
Exactly.
difference, you know? Yeah, amazing.
100%.
I'm so happy you came on the show. I'm so happy to see you and be in your ether again and to have you be able to make a difference for our listeners. And is there any last message you want to leave people with?
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was all alone in New York when I met you, and you really provided me that guidance. It just clicked so hard, to be able to go from your conference to where I am right now, and to create what I've created right now. I just want to say thank you for who you are, for the work that you do. Absolutely love it. And for the viewers, go biohack yourself today. It's okay if you're overwhelmed. I was too. Everybody still is. It's not like I'm a master and an expert. We are all still overwhelmed because this industry is something like $6.8 billion or $1 trillion industry. So you can only imagine how many people are coming into this industry on daily, creating new products, better products, new scientific research, new breakthroughs. So you don't have to become an expert, but just start today. Start to biohack yourself. Start to love your cells, your tiny little babies that are keeping you alive. That's my message.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Biohack yourself, and you can be unmessable with. So there you go. It's a perfect
Totally.
marriage.
Yes.
Perfect marriage. Thanks everybody for listening, and make sure to click on the link below to get to the next related video so that you can binge watch to be unmessable with. Okay.
What I love most about this conversation is the reminder that real change isn't about perfection, it's about authorship. TereZa didn't have to wait for the right plan or the perfect moment or the exact system to save her family. She chose one aligned action and then another, and the compound effect was transformational from the inside out. To keep you in creation, not reaction, grab my free guide, 5 daily practices to be unmessable with. It is in the show notes, and you can use it as a quick start ritual to stay grounded, focused, and in the driver's seat, no matter what your day throws at you. And don't stop here. Watch the next video right now. Keep the momentum going. Keep choosing you, and I will meet you in the next video.